Cleveland, Ohio, presenting the undefeated, undisputed heavyweight podcast of the world, the Big Play Reflux Show.
Okay, do you need medical attention?
Yeah.
What is wrong?
I don't know. I know damn about it. Attack by Chuck. To the 10. He's still running to the 5. He tips outside 1. He's doing it. Touchdown. Ready, away, back to goal. Here it is. You're doing those baseball.
It's time. The Big Play Reflux Show.
Welcome to the Big Play Reflog Show. I'm Gabriella Cruz alongside Nick Padone. We got a full house today. Bohm, thank you for doing your thing as well. I don't know if you built yourself a shot, but we also have Michael Bohm, the producer. And we have a special guest coming in soon. But also, Big Play Dave here.
What up? How are you?
Welcome back, Dave.
Why, thank you.
We
I
need more
missed the
Dave
show.
shows. Yeah, come on.
Oh, is this us? Oh, yeah. Oh, McNeil. Why do I always forget about him? His show.
No. It's just the namesake of the show, Gab. Why would you think
I was
about
like,
me?
I feel like there's someone else. Well, we have so many people in here
Special
today.
guest Dave today. Dave, welcome back to the show.
Why,
How long has
thank
it been,
you.
sir?
I don't know. I feel like I did a show a couple
Yeah, it was a couple
weeks ago. Yeah. Good to be back in studio.
There you go. Welcome.
Yes. We do have our featured Labatt interview. Should we just get right into it?
Yeah, let's send it.
All right, Bohm, intro away. All right, our Labatt featured interview today. We're joined by PGA Tour golf professional and Northeast Ohio native. We've got Justin Lower in the house, friend of show, but you're here in person. What do you think of our studio?
It's pretty awesome. I was a little confused when he told me to just turn into the airport, but
You are not the only one.
We
You
like
know
to
what we
get
got to do? We got to make a compilation of all the guests when like just saying I was a little confused when I pulled into the airport.
just
'cause I was-
aimlessly driving around, that'd be hilarious.
I just like getting everyone's reaction, you know?
Yeah, for sure. No Auntie yet. Not yet a sponsor, but we're
Right. No TSA check in here.
Yeah, right. No, it's pretty cool. Though.
Yeah, thanks for coming down, man.
Oh,
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Big
absolutely.
weekend for you, so let's get into it. Dave, Nick, any starter questions?
Yeah, so obviously big weekend at the RBC for you. Top 25 finish, -5 after day one. Had the entire office pretty pumped up, I would say,
yeah.
Dave. What's that feeling like, especially at the beginning of the round when things are really looking up and you're hitting it well? Like, what's that like for you when things start off promising?
It's interesting. It's kind of, you hope to start every tournament like well, because it's 4 days long. Tournament weeks are 6 to 7 days long because you're there all week. You're doing the same thing for 3 days, and then a tournament starts, and you have a morning tee time, you have an afternoon tee time, and you're trying to just get into some type of rhythm. And I had a morning tee time on Thursday, and the front nine was significantly harder than the back nine. I don't know if you guys could tell that or not, but
So you started on 10, right?
no, I started on one.
You
the
started
first
on
day.
oh,
yeah.
on the first day. Okay.
Yeah, and holes 3 through 6 were brutal. People were calling it the gauntlet by the end of the week. I was 2 over through 6 holes, and was able to birdie 7 and 8, and then I shot 5 under on the back nine coming in. So that was a good way to finish. Birdied the 17th hole and eagled the last hole, which was always fun to finish that way. The 18th hole was a kind of a weird hole to finish on that week. It was a par 5 where I think only one guy hit driver on all week.
Really?
Yeah,
What was the eagle? Walk us through the eagle.
So yeah, it's the hole itself is only 500 yards long or so. The tee shot plays downhill, and then the second shot plays way uphill to a green that's very sloped. Like it's got like 3 tiers on it, or 3. Yeah, it's a weird green. So I hit a 4-iron right down the middle of the fairway. Had 256 pin or something like that. and hit it was a little downwind. I hit just a perfect 5-wood to 8 feet. And then I was able to make the putt.
Could you see it?
No, you can't see the depth of the green because you're so far down. It plays maybe 9 or 10 yards uphill, so roughly 30 feet. So you're basically just kind of waiting on the crowd's reaction. And the saying on the PGA Tour is people don't clap unless you're famous or it spins back or it goes in. So
It's probably checks out. Yeah.
so I hit it to 8 feet, and we actually heard some claps. So we're like, okay, it has to be relatively close. And I got up there, and it was, it just looked better and better as you kind of started walking up there and got closer. So it was a little bit of a tough putt. I had a decent amount of break on it for an 8-footer, but yeah, I poured it right in, and that was it.
That's a hell of a way to end.
Yeah, absolutely.
Talk about kind of the atmosphere up there at the RBC. For those of you who aren't big golfers out there and don't really follow the tour, each of these tournaments kind of has their own kind of personality. You go from the Memorial, where it's Jack's tournament and everybody's competing to shake Jack's hand at the end, and it's steeped in tradition. You go up there to Canada, and it seemed like that was kind of quirky. They're singing "Oh Canada" on the one hole. So
Yeah.
what was that like? And talk about the difference in the dynamics between maybe the Memorial down here to then go into Canada.
Yeah, you have really two completely different atmospheres. Really, the Memorial it's more of a major. It's more serious. It's an invitational. There's only 120 players. It's a very difficult golf course. I think was it 7 under 1 or 7 under was the playoff.
Yep.
I mean, anytime you give us a tournament where the winning score is in the single digits under par, that's a tough week for us. We're not used to that. We kind of like it somewhere in the teens. I think ideally anywhere in the 20s is almost too easy. It becomes more of a putting contest, as guys call it. So you have the Memorial that's very serious. Everyone drinks milkshakes all week. Everyone.
Are the milkshakes good, by the way?
They're
Everybody raves about the
they're
milkshakes. It's probably
unbelievable.
good.
I don't know.
Really?
They're unbelievable. I don't
Wow.
know what ice cream they use. I don't know anything about it, but the line is always 5 to 6 people deep, and it's only us that's allowed to get them. We can get them for other people, but only the players are
The
allowed to get 'em.
golfers?
Yes. So we can get them for other people, but it's only if
So it's
you're-
not like a concession stand?
no.
No.
It's
Really?
in player dining in the locker room.
Wow.
And there's a list. There's an iPad. You can, if it gets too long, they'll have like a queue and you can punch in what you want. But they have a list of the ingredients, and you can put any type of mixture you want in there.
Now, what kind of milkshake guy are you? Like chocolate, vanilla, strawberry?
I
or-
just like chocolate. I'm
Okay.
kind of plain, but
Okay.
Now, is this one of those things where you remember like Yingling when everyone was obsessed with
Yeah.
Yingling and then it got here and you're like, oh,
no, it's everyone talks about the Muirfield milkshakes. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
The go-to is the Buckeye, just chocolate and peanut butter. Everyone loves that. And everyone who's not from Ohio asks what a Buckeye is, and trying to explain that is just it's
to
almost
everybody.
impossible. Yeah. But yeah, with the Memorial, it's very serious. It's tough. You have Jack there. You have everyone there, really. Like Monahan was there that week, the PGA Tour commissioner. This was before all the
yeah, how'd that go?
everything went down the following Tuesday. But then you have Canada, and it's so. I mean, they had 2 years off due to COVID, just with the country's restrictions. So they didn't have a tournament in 2021. So before last year, the last time they hosted it was 2019. So last year was a big deal for them to finally have the tournament back in Canada and have all the fans out and everything like that. No COVID restrictions, anything like that. So it was just as popular this year.
They were getting after it.
Oh my God!
Not great
It's-
singers,
it's-
but
no, not at all. It's hard to sing when you've had a. Well, I guess it's easy for you to sing, just not very well.
Right.
But I mean, it's every hole, every shot. There's people everywhere.
Yeah.
It was a kind of a tight golf course, so it's you're kind of confined in one spot. So there's people everywhere. Like they watch one hole, they flip around, they watch another hole. The back nine especially, it seemed like every hole was on top of each other. And then you have number 14, the rink hole, which is they actually put up the boards of a hockey rink around the tee box for us.
oh, cool.
And they slap the boards if you hit a good shot and stuff like that. It's pretty awesome because
Yeah,
you don't get to experience that really. In the practice round, one of the old volunteers was like, "Oh, we're trying to make this like 16 at Waste Management." I was like, "That's not going to happen ever." To quote Moneyball, like you have Waste Management up here, then you have literally 60 feet of crap. And then you have every other tournament that tries to make a hole like
Yes,
16 at Waste Management.
yes.
It will not happen.
So me and my buddies are planning a trip out there in
Okay.
February. Does it live up to the hype?
It is. So last year
what
was the
you-
first year I played it.
You 50th, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I played well the first 2 days. It was playing tough. It was windy every day, but 16, it's I mean, there's 20,000 people on one golf hole.
It's
And
insane.
on Saturday there were 500,000 people at the golf course.
Oh my god.
We
It
could have a
was-
big play outing because spring training will be out that way again
Yeah.
that time of year. This year it was the Super Bowl was out there.
Yes, that made
The
it.
Suns will be playing.
Sunday wasn't as crowded as Saturday.
Yeah.
because there was nothing going on Saturday. I think there were maybe 200,000, 250 on Sunday, just because people getting ready for the Super Bowl
Right.
and everything. But
We were there that next week and they were taking stuff down for
oh
the Waste
yeah.
Management Open.
Well, so the
yeah.
crazy thing is about that tournament, they have to take the stuff down every year.
oh
Like they have to
wow.
take the stadium down every year because it gets so hot, it can catch on fire.
Whoa.
Really?
Yeah, it's like a city ordinance, so they have to take it down every year.
That's like a whole city.
It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Yes. So
No
like,
kidding.
So you'll go there in December or January, and they're literally building it back up. There's maybe 3 or 4 months of the year where it's completely nothing's there.
So do you prefer that, or do you prefer like Muirfield or like the Masters, like old school vibe?
So I think it's cool 1 week a year.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if we had to do that every week with what we do,
Just throwing beer cans.
yeah,
at you.
it would be like it would be mayhem. Like we'd get
Yeah.
pretty sick of it. I feel like all golfers are control freaks. We're all. I wouldn't say we're all type A, but we're all sort of type A. Like
Yeah.
we like to control the situation, but like it's really cool that 1 week a year. It's a huge party. The one of my best experiences of the whole week was the people watching just during the event.
It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
Cedar Point.
Oh my yes, but on steroids. Like it's incredible. So like on the back nine, like you walk in like 10. 10 green goes right behind 16, and you're right there. Like it's loud. There's people
Yeah.
all around. There's a huge grandstands behind 10. 11 tee box, you're there. 12, there's a big grandstands. Then like 13, 14, you get away from it. Then you get back to 14 green and 15, and you start to like feel it. Like okay, it's getting exciting. And then you kind of walk into 16, the stadium, and it's unlike anything you've like.
Yeah.
It's so loud it becomes like a murmur to a point. Now I've never, obviously,
Is that nerve wracking or is it?
It is to
Yeah.
a point. The most nervous I got was during my pre-shot routine every time. Like I'm like, okay, I got this. Then I started my pre-shot routine. I'm like, okay, this is real. Like there's 20,000 people literally yelling at me right now. But that's where it gets really crazy. And I got booed all 4 days because I missed the green all 4 days. But it's the most wild thing because so it was my first year there. So everyone I'm playing practice rounds with is telling me that it usually plays downwind. So you already take one less club for adrenaline, then you take another less club for the wind.
Yeah.
So-
And what is that? Like 165,
So
170?
it plays
or-
anywhere from I think the shortest it plays is like 127 one day, and then it plays 172 another day. So
Okay.
they move the tee box around a little bit, and then they
Yeah.
move the pin obviously every day.
Right.
The back left pin is one that plays the longest. Yeah, I missed the green all 4 days, and like they boo you if everyone in your group misses the green, they start chanting shame at your group, like from Game of Thrones. It's hilarious. And then what round was it? The third round, I hit a horrible shot. Like it went like 25 yards long left, and then I flubbed the next one into the bunker. And I got the "one of us" chant. Like they all just immediately start chanting "one of us," and I was like, "Oh my god, what am I gonna do?" Then I hit the next shot to like a foot, and got a ovation for that. But it's the wildest. So the last day I missed like a 6-footer for par, made bogey, and walking out, like you hear like all these people, and I just started putting my hands in the air. I was like, "Yeah, boo me! Like I made bogey, I get it. Like just give it to me." And like everyone's like, yeah, like good on you, like good sport, all that. But the one guy I remember was the one guy before I walked through the tunnel. He just looks down at me, goes, "You suck," and I'm like, all these people here, and there's one guy, and you stand out like
Jackass.
yeah, basically, yes, like that guy. So it's like it's really cool 1 week a year, but other than that, it would
Yeah.
get really old. But like Canada, like they are golf crazed up there. It's amazing. And then like with the finish yesterday, like that's storybook. You can't make that stuff up.
So will there be new security next year?
Probably.
So if people didn't watch that, so Gab, they finish on a 72-foot eagle putt for the win.
By a
Canadian wins.
A Canadian
Win,
hasn't
win.
won in like 50 years.
It was
Okay.
1964 actually, because people were kind of tying it to the Browns.
Oh,
saying,
okay,
no
yeah.
kidding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Canadian hasn't won
Okay.
since 1964.
So-
like maybe this is.
So even longer than that.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
his buddy who plays on the PGA Tour, I forget where he finished, but
15th or 10th
Like,
or
Yeah.
somewhere in there.
this
Like,
is an actual
recognizable-
golfer, not a fan.
Yeah.
golfer.
So all the Canadians are there because it's a big deal. Like they want someone to win their national open. So there's every PGA Tour player who is Canadian is standing there behind 18, and Nick Taylor makes a 72-foot putt to win on the fourth playoff hole of sudden death, and Adam Hadwin, who finishes 10th or 11th or something like that, comes out with a bottle of champagne and he's shaking it and it's exploding out. And out of nowhere, the security guard runs around. He like spots Adam, runs around Nick Taylor and his caddy, and just full on sprint tackles Adam Hadwin
Oh, I think I saw this on Twitter.
Yes.
But yeah.
straight to the ground, like a linebacker just tackled.
like Adam was like naked streaking,
Yes.
like take that guy down.
Yeah.
But the most impressive thing, Adam had his thumb over the champagne opening like that the whole time, and not a drop was spilled.
Wow.
That was the good part. But just a cool tournament. Canada is like the fans are amazing.
So funny. How do you keep your composure for something like that? Because obviously you want to conserve over multiple days. You got to conserve your energy, but it's so distracting, like you said, the people watching and the chaos. How do you find that balance?
Well, that's the thing about golf. You're on the course for 4 or 5 hours. You're only hitting a shot for maybe a total of 40 minutes, maybe a little more or less than that. So you kind of almost need a distraction sometimes to make you laugh or
Yeah.
to calm you down a little bit, because you're always kind of on edge. Like I wear a Whoop heart rate monitor, and my heart rate goes all throughout, like all the way up, all the way down.
Where were
throughout a
you when
golf
that guy said you suck?
tournament. Well, I'd have to look it up, but
125.
but so when I play, I'm usually around 110 to 120. But that week at Waste Management, anytime I'd get to 16, just based on the time, I could tell I was in the 140s.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I feel like that would like make me super anxious, and I'd
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'd be
throw it off
yeah.
and like I can't look at this thing.
No, well, so it doesn't tell you anything. It tells you all on the phone after the round. But,
Oh, okay.
cool.
So my caddy actually wears one that tells him what it is in real time, which I would not want to look at.
That's what
but
I had, and it was
Okay.
horrible.
Yeah,
it's the
that-
worst.
yeah.
Don't recommend.
That wouldn't be any good. But yeah, it's you just kind of you take deep breaths. You tell yourself to calm down, so you tell yourself this is why you're here. Like pressure is a privilege. Like all those things. Like it is pressure, but it's like at the same time you're just hitting a golf shot. So
Could you play casually, like in a foursome of dudes that weren't that good? Just like your average golfer. Like, would that be possible for you, or would you be like these
I
guys?
did it on Wednesday. In
Oh,
the
okay.
Pro-Am, yeah. There was a guy that couldn't hit it more than 100 yards that we played with.
Really?
Yes, it was. He said he was a billionaire too, and I believed him. He told me his story, and he's like, "Yeah, I own over $1 billion." I was like, "Oh, good,
Oh,
nice.
good. Maybe take a lesson.
Yeah, right." But no,
Who's the coolest celebrity you've played with in a
Oh.
pro-am or otherwise?
Clark Kellogg maybe.
Oh, that's cool.
Um,
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, Clark's
Some
pretty
Ohio
cool.
State
Um,
connections right there.
Tells me all about like March Madness and like the prep that he goes through every year just to learn all about like the juggernaut teams every year and the Cinderella stories, all that. He
Oh,
said
that's
he loves
cool.
it. He said he goes like usually like right before tournament time he said he goes dark for like 3 weeks and kind of learns everything. Then
Goes
in the
LeBron,
yeah.
zero dark 30.
Yeah,
Or
right.
whatever.
Yeah.
Or who was it? Aaron Rodgers right before he made that.
Yeah, the darkness retreat. That's
Yeah.
that's Clark Kellogg and like around the Super Bowl.
No, so yeah, Clark Kellogg was cool. I think he might be the only one I've actually played with. I've met other guys, but he might be the only one I've actually played with.
So instead of casual golfer, what about like, could you play a dog track? Like,
Oh,
if
yeah.
you went to like Thursday night golf league with me at Bobolink, so like, how do you
Absolutely.
think you would do on a track like that?
I have no idea
this
how
is his
I do,
way
but
of inviting you just straight
we'd
up.
have
He's
fun.
slowly working his way in here, Justin.
we'd have fun for sure.
There we
Yeah.
go.
No, I grew up on a public family-owned golf course. That's my blood. Like that's
Yeah.
all I like. I'm not a country club guy by any means.
You fit
What
right
course
in with
was
the crew.
So
What course was it that you grew up on? I can't remember.
it's called Lions Den Golf Course in Canal Fulton, Ohio. Not to be confused with the Lions Dens up and down all the highways in Ohio. But no,
I was gonna
it's
say billboards for that all over the place. Looks like an interesting place.
But no, it's just a family-owned golf course. It has no it doesn't. It did have a driving range. It doesn't anymore. You just kind of go up. It has a putting green. Sometimes he has a net up to get a few swings in before the round. Sometimes he doesn't. And you just kind of go out and play.
That's
It's
awesome.
the easiest course to walk. It's fun.
You mentioned how sometimes you gotta laugh, keep things loose. How important is it that your caddy and you have good chemistry?
Mm-hmm. It's I'd say it's pretty important. It depends. Like it depends on the player mostly. I like to talk to my caddy at times. He understands that there's times I don't want to talk at all.
Yeah.
So we have a good vibe on that. He's from California. He's from LA, so he has a good kind of a chill vibe to him. Doesn't really get too up or too down. He'll let me dog cuss him if I need to, just to get it out. He's like, "Look, I get it." He's like, "I get," because he used to play, so he understands the emotions that you go through on and off the golf course and whatnot.
How does that work? So when you got your card,
Mhm.
21, right?
Yeah.
Do you interview caddies? Do they give you one? How does that work?
No, so basically, so when you start on like the Corn Ferry Tour or mini tours, there will literally be guys in the parking lot just
Okay.
waiting.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then usually the Corn Ferry Tour, which is like AAA baseball, the step below the PGA Tour, usually there's an established group of caddies out there, kind of week in, week out, and they'll, like, depending on your status for the following year, guys will meet up and they'll talk before the tournament or before the season starts. Be like, "Hey, I'm looking for a caddy for this many weeks. Would you be willing to do it? I'm looking for a caddy for the whole season. Would you be willing to do
Yeah.
it?" Stuff like that. So when I got my card, I literally just took my caddy from the Corn Ferry Tour up to the PGA Tour.
Oh, sweet.
his
What
name-
a call for him.
Yeah. Right. Well, his name is JP Kellogg. He still caddies on the PGA Tour now. I don't have him anymore. But
Oh, okay.
his uncle is Joe LaCava, who used to caddy for Tiger,
Oh,
who
sweet.
now caddies for Patrick Cantlay. So
Wow.
yeah. So he's got caddy lineage in him.
I
Sure.
guess so.
His uncle used to caddy for Fred Couples, like
Wow.
way back in the day.
No
yeah.
kidding. Wow.
Yeah, so
And he has patience with Cantlay.
yes, yeah, you kind of need it, but yeah, no, it's it's kind of different player to player, but yeah, it all depends. Some guys love talking to their caddies.
Yeah.
Some caddies love talking to the players, and the players just won't say anything. Like there are times, like my caddy Chad, he will literally just start talking. He loves to fish, so he'll just tell me like these random fishing stories all the time, and I'll just be like, "Oh, okay, yeah, really cool." Just
Good background noise.
like how far do I have? Like, or just stuff like that. So, but yeah, it all depends on the player, really.
Yeah, I've always wondered about that, the dynamic. It's got to be different person to person.
It is. I mean, you spend a lot of time together. That's the crazy part.
Yeah.
Like when my wife didn't travel, like she used to work. She doesn't work anymore. We just had our first child in December, so she's a full-time mom now. But
Congratulations.
Oh.
That is fantastic.
thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
congrats.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ariana.
Yes, Ariana. Baby Ari. But yeah, Chad and I, like, we spent a lot of time. So before my wife would, I probably spent more time with my caddy than I did my wife, just because I would be gone for 3 or 4 weeks and I spend 6 or 7 hours a day at the golf course with my caddy, and I don't see my wife for 3 or 4 weeks. Like, it's just kind of how the dynamic is, really.
Yeah.
And it's just, sometimes it can be fun, sometimes it can be frustrating. It's just like any other relationship, I guess. So just
All
a
right.
little more business aspect.
Last quick thing before we get into more serious golf stuff. We were talking before the show, just Ohio things. You don't get a galley boy at Swenson's.
I don't know.
All right, tell us the order and the
Really?
philosophy behind it.
So I think the galley boy just has. I like just a regular cheeseburger.
Okay.
Like just ketchup, mustard,
It's
pickle.
overrated.
I agree. My wife loves it, but she's also a Steelers fan. So, I just get a triple cheeseburger, ketchup, mustard, pickle. I get Cajun fries.
The
and,
Cajun fries are good.
Yeah, and I either get the Ohio or a Mountain Dew to drink,
Okay.
or sometimes a chocolate shake.
Yeah, their chocolate shakes are good.
Yeah, their shakes are amazing.
Regular
See,
Mountain
I
Dew or
like
Baja Blast?
California over the
Just
Ohio.
regular. Yeah.
Sure. What'd you say, Chris?
I was going to say, in terms of drinks, I like the California better than the Ohio. I go California, Ohio, then Florida on those three.
The California is good. My wife, that's her go-to. So
Dude, sometimes I just get 2 galley boys and just be like,
Dude,
just
so
go to
Uber
town.
Eats had like a special for like 3 months, and it was
Really?
buy one get one. And so like you just add it to the cart, and you're like, all right, I'm eating 2 galley boys, and
Yeah.
I'm eating 2 triple cheeseburgers. I gained
Yeah.
like 7 pounds.
I feel like part of Swenson's though is like the experience, you know. Like
It is.
I gotta sit up
Yeah.
there. Like I feel like I'd be sad if I got an Uber Eats and then it was just like, now I gotta throw this down in my living room. Like
no, it is just sitting there in your car eating,
Yeah.
or like regardless if you get the tray on the window or anything. Like I took a couple of my friends there in Columbus when we were we played Ohio State. I think it was 2 years ago, 21, the year I got my card. And I'm like, this is an Ohio staple, a Northeast Ohio staple. Like it's not really anywhere else. Like the Columbus locations are new. I was like, get the galley boy, get a burger, get whatever.
Yeah.
Like my buddy's caddy gets a sloppy Joe. He gets like, all this. I'm like, why would you would you not listen to me?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
And he's complaining that his like stomach's hurting afterward. I'm like,
Oh, bro.
no one gets the sloppy Joe at Swenson's. You get a burger or a galley boy.
Yeah.
And you get fries or a shake, and he's
Yeah.
getting like all this other stuff. And I'm like, they ordered like 3 of the sides, like the potato teasers.
Those are
amazing.
actually
those
pretty
are
good.
good.
Those are amazing.
Yeah.
But he got like, I don't even know what, like onion ring. Like I didn't even know they had onion rings. I just
Yeah.
thought it was
Amateur
fries.
hour.
Yeah. Like he just ordered all this. I'm like, what is wrong with you? But yeah.
Oh, that's
But they're
hilarious.
also big In-N-Out guys, which I think is
Oh, In-N-Out. That's what I was thinking of.
Highly
Maybe.
overrated.
I think
Overrated.
it's
It
highly
was.
overrated.
I was
Well,
bummed
it's
out.
consensus. Look at
Oh
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's highly
Maybe
overrated.
it got overhyped
spirits
for
were-
us.
I know. I think it did. We were pretty pumped when we went to try it, and it was just
Yeah.
like
It was all
I
right.
was like, it's
it's all right.
It's
I
medium.
truly have Swenson's above it, and that's like
Yeah.
not a home. That's like not a homer thing either.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Swenson's was better.
They definitely call me a homer because I think Swenson. Is better. But I just In-N-Out's just no. It's just the fries are so bland. The
Yeah.
burger's okay.
Burger was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. The shake was good.
No, yeah, I
But-
agree.
Nothing to like write home about.
Yeah. All right, Justin, there's moments in sports where like you remember where you were. Like when LeBron came back, I remember distinctly where I was. When you saw that the Live Tour and the PGA were merging, initial reactions.
I was in the locker room on Tuesday. I had just gotten there, so we're like setting on my locker, getting all the stuff out of my bag and everything, and my caddy's telling me a story, and I get this email on my phone, and I'm like looking through
Fishing
it.
story.
Yeah, it might have been a fishing story. I don't know, but I was like, hang on, chat. I was like, give me a minute. I have to read this. And he's like, is that the email? And I was like, yeah. He's like, can you explain it to me? I was like, Chad, I don't know if I know what I'm reading right now. Like, this is monumental. Like, we have a players meeting at 4. Like, I had no idea what to think. And
So did you hear about it on the internet, or you got an email?
well,
from...
I got the email from the tour
Okay.
from Monahan, our
Yeah,
commissioner.
yeah.
And it was just like Chad, my caddy, was like, yeah, we were all talking about it at breakfast this morning because they had heard about it through Twitter or Instagram or
Yeah.
something like that. And then like it just became the talk of the day, really, and the talk of the week and everything. And like I remember at lunch, like guys were talking about going to the meeting but having a walkout, and I'm like, is this really what we want to do? Like,
Yeah.
like is this really going to happen? And yeah, and then the meeting happened, and it was tense from the start. So
No kidding.
just
So was
like-
that like a Zoom meeting, or like
no, it was
all in person?
all the PGA Tour execs were there.
Wow.
I would say most of the board was there. Not every board member was there, but it started. So it said we were going to start at 4. I walked in at maybe 3:55. I sat with a buddy of mine, Dylan Wu, and Callum Tarrant. We're both second years on tour. Callum's from England. Dylan's from Oregon, lives in Scottsdale now. And we're just kind of sitting there like, is this really like, what's this meeting going to be like first off? Like,
Yeah.
like the big surprise that Rory was actually there.
Yeah.
So Rory is on the PGA Tour advisory board. He's above the pack, the advisory committee. So he's on the board. So he actually has voting rights. And it's like, it was just tense from the start. Like it was just us three at a table. And then like, there was like just people spread out all around, and Jay comes up and he gives this speech, and like from
Any booze?
oh yeah, like yes, like booze, like no claps, like
Waste management style? You
no,
suck.
yeah. There were immediately people calling for his resignation after what he said, like immediately after.
Wow.
And like a guy, there's a rookie out there, Kyle Westmoreland. He went to Air Force Academy, so he's former military. So you can imagine how he stood up and he's like, Jay, as former military, this is BS. Like, what you're doing right now, this is absolute BS. And everyone just wanted to know the question why. Like, why is this happening? And Jay's like, it's all for the future of the PGA Tour. He's like, if I care about the future of the PGA Tour, we need to do this. And I was like, kind of makes sense based on my math, how much money the tour has left over after this year. With
Well,
all
they
the
were at like
elevated
what,
points.
50 million in legal fees or something.
Yeah.
wild.
So to put it in perspective, February of 2020, so pre-COVID, the tour had anywhere from 300 to 350 million in reserves. So all the time we are told to look at the tour as one pro sports franchise.
Okay.
Like that's how much we're worth.
Yeah.
We're not worth the
Sure.
entire league, but we're worth as much as one team. That's how we're told to look at the tour. So, as of so I was on the pack last year. They told us how much was in the reserves. So, going into sorry, as of February of 22, so 2 years later, they had 150 to 200 million. So almost half of it was gone through to COVID. So basically, the worst thing that could have happened was a pandemic, and that happened.
Yeah.
Where they spent all the money on the test, all the money on transportation to keep us in a somewhat intact bubble during everything, and that's what happened. That's kind of the worst thing that happened. Then Live happens, which is another kind of worst thing that happened.
Yeah.
Or worst thing that could happen. And then they have to spend all this money to keep the top guys here. Such as the elevated purses, the designated events, stuff like that. More PIP money, stuff like that, just to keep the top guys happy, keep the top guys
There.
there. Basically,
Yeah.
that's all they had to do. And basically, I think they're just running out of money. Like by my estimation, they had roughly 50 million left. Have it?
That's not good.
No, it's not.
Wow.
And then I've heard rumors of anywhere from 2 to 3 billion is going to be invested from the PIF. So I don't know if that is. I obviously know about the PIF, the Saudi Public Investment Fund. That's where it's all going to come from as soon as the deal goes through. But is that something we really want to be associated with? That's a lot of the guys' questions. Like so Maverick McNeely, who's probably one of the smartest guys on tour, came up with, he's like, if we're doing this, he's like, why couldn't we have done it through private equity? We could have raised 2.5 billion in a week with all of our connections. Like we could have done it.
Yeah.
Absolutely could have done it. And Jay was like, this was the easiest way for the future of the PGA Tour. And everyone's like, why is this the easiest
So
way?
people were
Not
like,
a great answer.
standing up.
100%. Yes. Like multiple people stood up and said, Jay, you should resign right now. Like immediately.
What'd he say?
He's like, I'm sorry you feel that way. Like,
Yeah.
but it's not happening.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where it gets into a much deeper discussion from there. Like, is it actually a player's tour? Like, do we have the right to vote him out? Do we have the right to get rid of him? And I'm not sure that we do, which is kind of frustrating to a way. I don't think he should resign personally. I think what he did during COVID was great. I think what he did, I think he handled all of this up until Tuesday, this past Tuesday. I think he handled it pretty well. He was maybe a little too harsh, maybe, but those guys chose to leave, and he set down the rules, and that's what they were. But then to do a complete 180 on this, that's where it gets a little fishy, in my opinion.
Right.
So we just kind of have to wait and see where it all goes from here.
Now, I imagine because that room didn't have any, live golfers in it, right?
No.
It was all PGA Tour players.
Yeah.
So he didn't really have any allies per se in that room naturally. Did he have a smattering of people who said, "Hey, wait a second, he's got some good points here, by the way, guys," and any of that occur in the room?
So Rory a little bit, even though from what I've heard, he's pretty upset with it all. He's
Sure
very
sounds that way from all the quotes.
Yeah, he's very against Live. He's very against the Saudi Public Investment Fund, like all that stuff, like where the money comes from, what it stands for, all that. The one guy that really he's like, guys, let's take a step back and kind of look at this like big picture was Matt Kuchar. He kind of sat back and he's like, this is something that we can, like, there was always talk of a world tour with the best players in the world based on world golf ranking, stuff like that. And just kind of week in, week out, like a small schedule, huge money, guaranteed money, stuff like that. And he's like, this has a potential to actually happen now. And that kind of became the consensus. Everything I read, like Maverick put out a statement afterward, he went to Stanford. He's super smart. His dad founded Sun Microsystems, so he's been around the corporate America world for a long time. So he knows what it's like. He's like, let's sit back. Let's see where this goes from here. I'm curious. Be curious about it. Don't be judgmental about it, and kind of see where it goes from there. I don't think Jay has handled it great. I don't think the comments about the 9/11 have been great.
Right.
I don't think it's just
how quickly it happened.
Yeah, it hasn't been.
When did Live start? Like actually start? Not that long ago.
The first tournament
It was like a year ago,
late
right now.
May or early June of last year in London. And then
Insane.
then you had all the lawsuits that followed after that, and the suspensions and all that. And I was one who benefited from the suspensions. I finished 138 on the FedEx Cup last year, but with the 16 suspensions, I got moved to 122 and was able to keep my card that way. So I'm kind of thankful for them.
Yeah.
Because without them, I could be back on the Korn Ferry Tour this year. But even through Korn Ferry finals, I made enough to where I would have been back on the PGA Tour regardless. But I'm kind of thankful for that, and I have friends who are in the same boat. So that's like we're kind of like, okay, yeah, we never got an official offer from Liv, but because of Liv, we still have jobs on the PGA Tour.
Right.
So that's where it gets really interesting.
Huh. Is it true Will Zalatoris Venmo requested Jay Monahan for $130 million?
I don't think Venmo goes that high, but it would be interesting if he did. But, yeah.
So when you're looking at it, where would you like to see it go? Is it that World Golf Tour now that we're kind of at where we're at?
Yeah, I have an idea of what's going to happen. I think Liv. So Jay is supposed to get full control over everything, and when I say Jay, I mean Jay Monahan.
Yeah.
So he's supposed to get full control over everything, starting January 1, 2024. So that means control over Liv, control over everything. So that means Greg Norman's out as commissioner of Liv, founder of Liv, whatever you want to call him. That means he's out. That means I think Liv will be around, but not in the capacity that it is now. I think there will be something similar to Liv where you have maybe a little more than 48 players. I think it'll be roughly 70 to 80, which is what they're talking about with the elevated purses and events next year.
Yeah.
Making them limited fields and guaranteed cuts and guaranteed money, stuff like that. So I think that World Tour will happen. I think it'll be a mix.
Okay.
I think it'll be a mix of the top 6 to 10 PGA Tour events with the top 5 to 8 Live events, and then mixed in with the majors. So the majors are a separate entity from the PGA Tour.
Right.
They're not run by the PGA Tour at all.
Yep.
They're all run by the organizations.
Which is why the Live golfers could play,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. But so I think eventually that World Tour will happen. And I think the PGA Tour will take the Live model or something similar to that and keep that model, but they'll just put their own name to it. Kind of like what Tim Fincham did in the late 90s with the World Golf Championships. So Greg Norman did something like this when he was on tour. he said, we need guaranteed money, guaranteed purses,
Yep.
no cuts, stuff like this. We need all this money. All the guys said no, but then Tim Fincham came up with this wonderful idea on his own, and when I say on his own, in quotation marks, of the World Golf Championships, which were huge money, no cuts, guaranteed money, and that was the World Golf Championships, which the last one was just this past year with the World Match Play.
Oh,
So
okay.
those don't exist anymore, but essentially they're coming back next year with the guaranteed, with the elevated events with guaranteed no cuts and big money. So I think starting in 25 is when you'll start to see that tour.
Interesting. So out of the live, the kind of the new things that live has brought to the table in terms of rules, in terms of things that they allow the players to do, is there anything that you're particularly interested in them incorporating in the PGA Tour? I mean, do you want to wear shorts out there? Are you one of the guys pushing for that?
So I think at some point, we would be allowed to wear shorts during tournament rounds. We can wear them during practice rounds, which is kind of nice because especially these days these coming months in the summer, it gets wherever you're at, it gets extremely hot and humid.
Yeah.
So I think eventually it'll happen. I don't think a lot of the live model will come over to the PGA Tour. I
feel like that's good.
Yeah, I agree.
hate the team approach.
I agree.
I think it's bad for golf.
I think it could be cool, but I think it has to be different. I don't know what that answer is.
Yeah.
Because I feel like all sports fans love teams, and I think people like to get behind teams. I think us as Cleveland fans can all agree with that. But golf is not really a team sport.
No.
We have our team events such as the Ryder Cup, President's
Sure,
Cup,
which is
World
cool.
Cup. Yes, which
Yeah.
is cool. But would it get too old if it happened week in, week out?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's my question.
Especially for the casual fan, I want to get behind somebody and just follow them, them necessarily be tied to all these other dudes like you, for example, and what we were talking about with that bet. We bet on you. We wouldn't care if you were tied to, 3 other random people.
No, absolutely. That's just kind of the way it is. Golf is an individual sport, and I think there is a way to do the team aspect. I don't think the live model is that answer, but who really knows what the actual answer is?
Mm-hmm.
It did say in the email that they will find a way to introduce team golf into the PGA Tour. What that is, I don't think anyone knows. I think they have some ideas right now, but only time will tell, I guess.
And do you think that golf in general will go more towards that waste management route where you see that a little bit on the live tour? Mm-hmm. Or do you think it'll stay more traditional or kind of just a mix?
I think more of a mix. I think it's already changing. I think the gambling aspect has changed that a lot. I hear a lot more in the crowd now, hey, I've got $50 on this
I
putt.
bet $5 on you.
I hear a lot more of that in the crowds now. So
now, what do you think when you hear that? Do you think in your head, yeah, I've got my whole life riding on this? Thanks, buddy. I care about your $5.
A little bit of that, but it's also you also want to do as good as you can. So hopefully they're not too big of jerks about it, and you can actually salute them afterwards, hey, yeah, did that for you type of thing. But
real one.
Yeah, right. But it's kind of weird. The thing where it'll get really fishy is if someone has a bet on it and they do something to distract a player and it decides a tournament. That's where
which could totally happen.
Yeah.
So that's where that's my only qualm, I guess, with the live betting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's also
It's the Happy Gilmore ending.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. I got $10 on the line. I hired Nick to run someone over with a car.
Yeah. So the funny thing about yesterday was Michael Kim, who plays on the PGA Tour, he was first alternate for the U.S. Open this week. So he sent out. Michael is a brilliant Twitter follow if you get a chance. So when he plays with a top player such as Rory or Jon Rahm, he will go in and he'll have bullet points after the round. This is what I enjoyed watching Rory or Rahm play. This is what I enjoyed about it. This is what I didn't enjoy. He is very good at this. This was so cool to watch the number 1 player in the world at the top of his game, stuff like that. But he'll also say hey, I'm the first alternate for the U.S. Open. who do I hire to take someone out, and who do I take out? So lo and behold, Adam Hadwin gets tackled at the end of the tournament yesterday, and everyone's like, Michael, did you have anything to do with this? So like all morning he's been tweeting, I've seen Adam today at the course. Clearly I hired the wrong security guard. Like all this stuff.
That's so funny.
Yeah, so it's little things like that, but
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I have a burning question because you had mentioned how golfers are maybe lean a little more type A, which makes sense. You just want to be in control of everything. You got to stay laser focused. Is there anything in your career, and maybe it's not your story, but anything you've seen, like what's the biggest mess up or mispreparation you've ever had? You know, like for me, I ran track and cross country. Sometimes you forget a spike or like you miss what time the race is at because there's multiple events. What's something that has happened to you or maybe someone else?
I had a couple, like when I played mini tours, I had a couple like just misjudging. Like I used to live in Charlotte, North Carolina, and there was a mini tour based in the Carolinas, and there were times where I could literally stay at home and go to the tournaments, and where I would misjudge traffic and show up. So I usually, my whole warm up starts an hour before my tee time, and there were twice in one event, I showed up like 5 minutes before my tee time because I misjudged traffic due to morning rush hour and stuff like that, where I'm literally panicking, because if you show up late for your tee time, you get a 5-minute grace period, but if you miss that 5 minutes, you're disqualified and you can't play. So that, and if you arrive in that 5 minutes, it's a 2-shot penalty. So you're already giving 2 shots to the field. Yeah, that's where it gets really interesting. So I've seen guys miss their tee time, stuff like that, which is like,
is it like Major League, like Wesley Snipes in his pajamas,
to
like
a point,
running?
yeah, to a point. Like it's like it's no warm up, no range balls, just straight to the tee, and then you're like
cold.
Yeah, you're cold, you're stiff, you're like your mind is racing at that point. Like there's really nothing to calm you down, really. So actually, this past week in Canada, so the range itself was too small at the golf course. So they had 27 holes at the golf course. So they made a makeshift range. But we're in like the middle of a very busy part of the city, I'll say. And they made like a makeshift range, but we had to take a shuttle to it every day. And these shuttles weren't golf carts. They were actual cars that would go out through 2 stoplights. It was like a 10 to 15 minute ride every day.
Really?
Wow.
So guys had to, and that's like, we're talking like 30 minutes round trip. So like,
That's super weird.
so if I usually spend an hour before my tee time warming up. So my typical warm up is, it consists of 50 minutes. I do 20 minutes of putting, 10 minutes of short game, 20 minutes on the range. And then I go to the tee 10 minutes before my tee time just to get ready. I mark my golf balls, get ready, get the pin sheet, everything like that. So this week I had to add like an extra 25 to 30 minutes each day just for the shuttles, because it's 2-lane traffic. So you have 1 lane going this way, 1 lane going this way. Construction as well. So it gets backed up. The one stoplight didn't have a turn signal into it. So if you were happen to be turning left, it's like mayhem getting it. Yeah, there's like 20 cars going straight, so you have no time to get in there. And there's one police officer who doesn't really have that much authority trying
He's
to go
Canadian.
up
He's too nice.
there. Right? Yeah. Sorry, please stop the traffic. Sorry. So he can do what he can, but a lot of guys were just walking from the range. It was an 8-minute walk is what everyone consisted of.
Oh
it.
my god.
So you're literally walking. So the range was close to the 7th green. So you would walk past the 7th green all the way down 8, all the way down 18 and 9, and then you would end up at the putting green, 1st tee and 10th tee. So you could take the shuttle there, which was usually shorter than getting the shuttle back to the 1st and 10th tee.
Yeah.
Or you could just take the 8-minute walk back, which a lot of us ended up doing toward the end.
Wow. Maybe they should work on that.
Yeah, it was. I will say I do know there were a lot of complaints about the logistics of this event this past week. So
Wow.
and then also a lot of complaints about. So we're very fortunate we have player dining. They provide breakfast and lunch with us. Sometimes they provide free dinners for us too, which is amazing.
That's sweet.
So it usually happens at the TPC courses, the courses that are owned or under the PGA Tour umbrella. So usually those are the ones we get the free dinners at. Or the Memorial, we got free dinners there too. So you just kind of splurge. You just
Dude, talk about one of us, like free dinners. Like, yes.
It's pretty amazing. Like I don't know what it is, but not having to pay for dinner is always nice. But so there were a lot of complaints.
One of us. One of us.
There were a lot of complaints this past week with RBC, and it happens every time RBC hosts an event, is that they bring in all their clients and they're able to eat with us that week.
Oh, I bet
So
you guys love that.
it gets super crowded, and they even put signs on all the tables that says, "Please respect players and their families. Do not ask for autographs. Do not ask for pictures." And some people still break that rule.
I bet.
I'm not one who will turn down an autograph, but also people don't ask me for my autograph that much. So like I saw it like Rory gets it all the time, even like because Rory walks into a room and there's a bunch of normal people in there.
Yeah.
People know who he is.
Yeah.
Like he's the face of the PGA Tour, so he's obviously going to get stopped by
Are you ever like,
kids or
do you guys
families.
want one? I'm Ant-Man.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. You have no idea who I am, but I'll gladly sign for you. Yeah. So that's where like we have player relations people that we talk to every week, just about that type of stuff and how we can make it better and make it flow easier, stuff like that. So,
Interesting.
yeah.
Man, so I feel like the 2 years you've been on tour, it's been a wild ride.
It's not what I expected. Not when I dreamed of playing on the PGA Tour as a kid. It's nothing how I thought it would be.
Year 2 compared to year 1, just golf-wise, you're obviously doing really well.
I'm trying. I've had it was a tough start to the season, kind of the early months. So living in Ohio, obviously we have more seasons than other people who play professional golf for a living, and I usually go to somewhere warm, whether it's Florida or California or Scottsdale. I usually go like 1 or 2 weeks before the season starts and start practicing and get ready for the season and whatnot. This year with my daughter being born, I wasn't able to do that, so I kind of went into the season cold, and it kind of showed a little bit. I was a little rusty a little bit, but I'm starting to play better, and it's starting to feel better, which is always nice. So
You got a shitload of FedEx points, so you're doing all right.
yeah, I'm trying. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, greatly appreciate the time. I could talk golf literally all day.
Yeah.
Yes, as could Reflog.
We don't get enough of it on this show. I'm
We
just
don't.
laughing
We
at it.
don't.
This
Yes.
is good stuff.
I'll talk about anything.
Right. So yeah, one day I'm thinking big play golf show.
Absolutely,
Let's do it.
we could do it.
And
for sure.
golf outing, by the way. We got to play
Yeah.
with him. I mean, I don't know if he'll want to play with us. I
I'll
guess
play.
he could.
Absolutely.
So Chris
Yeah.
claims he's a scratch golfer, and literally
I never-
every
Okay, we can look this up. Does he
yes,
have a
pull up
gin?
his gin. Pull
Does
up
he
his
have a gin?
Because
No,
every
I don't.
time I
don't
have
have a
golfed,
legitimate one. The
you
last
have
time
a
I did was
gin?
back in high school, Justin.
Okay.
I played to a legit 4 back in high school.
Well, that's
He doesn't have a
little
gin.
worse than a scratch.
he has illegal clubs.
What clubs are illegal that you have?
Oh, they're not. Well, ping eye 2s. with the
Those
square
are
group.
technically illegal.
Yes.
Plays with juice balls,
Well, what ball?
baseball.
Baseball. I don't even know what a baseball is.
No.
What am I playing with juice balls? The balls are fine.
Juice. Yeah, I know what those are.
Chris,
Yeah.
all I'm saying is you got to step it up, man.
The ping eye 2s are illegal though. You got to get rid of those.
Shh, Justin, shh. Between you and Terry at Firestone, who was our
Oh, he was
caddy
getting
out
ripped
there
on.
Friday,
Was he?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
both
Oh,
of
yeah.
them. Terry called me on it in front of everybody.
Are they
Like,
the
Terry's
the
down.
copper ones or the
No, not the copper.
not the
ones,
copper?
non-
Okay. Well, those aren't as bad, I guess.
No, and mine's got the plus on it, so I think technically mine's fine.
Well, it's all the grooves. You got it's a some are grandfathered in, some aren't. You got to kind of look it up. So
I like to believe mine are grandfathered.
There you go. All right. We'll do a big play of golf on. You can look at them.
Yeah,
Playing
for
with
sure.
At any
Yeah.
given time, it's fine.
yeah.
All right, Justin. Appreciate the time.
No, absolutely.
Thanks for
Thank
coming
you.
in studio,
Yeah, anytime.
and we'll see you soon.
Absolutely.
Happy
Thanks for
early
having me.
Father's Day.
Yes.
Heck
thank you.
yeah.
Yeah,
Looking
for
forward to
sure.
it. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Back to you, Gab.
Cool. All right. Well, none of the rest of the show is going to come close to being that entertaining.
Yeah, no, yeah, tough act to follow for sure.
Peek under the tent like that. That is so fantastic. And for him to come in right after all that news with Live and PGA Tour and just a rocket start to the PGA season is just fantastic. And he's so great because he's so willing to kind of give us insight, tell us what's going on, tell us his thoughts. I thought that was fantastic. You're not going to get that anywhere. So that's good stuff.
Yeah, that
Thanks,
was
Joe.
just super informative too for someone like me who really doesn't have a clue. You guys know I'm not the biggest golf fan. out there. I just know stuff from you guys and what I can scan on Twitter and whatnot. But that was a really cool inside look for sure.
And the stuff on the meeting, Chris, like the live meeting, like I don't think that like the Gab, that's not you not being a golf fan. Like that stuff's not out there. Like that's not published. Like we, broke a little news on the show.
Yeah, that was
absolutely. He took you right in the room when all the players found out. And like I was saying, I mean, those are all PGA Tour players. These are not live players. So these players do not have any kind of an allegiance to the live tour, and we're obviously very upset by it.
Are you wearing a Fade Padone shirt?
I am. You just now picked up on that?
Yeah, what? Bohm just made you
Cody
big for the first time on the... Yeah, geez, everybody's just... I've been red hot, and people are still wearing Fade Padone shirts. I hit a Guardian same-game parlay. I hit a Game 2 of the finals. I hit a huge one. Everybody's still wearing the shirt.
Let me tell you something. I'm still kind of upset about what happened there at the Lake County Captains game. Still a little butt hurts over that one. I got beat up pretty good there, Padone. So I'm going to be throwing as much shade as I can until I get my second chance at
Chance
you.
of redemption.
Well, listen,
The redemption tour is going to come, and it's going to be tenfold.
I think the thing there, though, Chris, was my whole life I've had to deal with being short. It has not many perks, but I think the perk there was they said the low man wins. And just naturally, between you and I, and people that have ever met us know, you are a lot taller than I am. So I think for once, Mother Nature was on my size, being 5'8".
I just could not get
with shoes
down to
on.
your level. I could not. I tried as hard as I could. I could not get down to your level, Padone.
That's freaking funny. No, I'm Fade Padone now because I got excited after our last show, so I bet on the one finals game.
Heat and 7.
Jimmy to score 25 and the Heat to win. Jimmy scored over 25, great. And then I always do that. I'm sure people complain about it all the time, but I'll build something with multiple things in it. And in the football season, I feel like I'd go down the list and I'd get everything but one. And then I thought I wasn't doing that big of a risk by just building 2. And sure enough.
Welcome to my life.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fade Gab.
Fade Gab.
Fade Gab.
I have yet to win one bet, guys. So
You've never won a bet?
No, I'm starting to think it's all fake.
Well,
we got to get you a
This is just a
bet.
made-up
What's
fairyland.
unfortunate for Gab, actually, though, is because in these big play boosts that we put out that obviously she can't bet on, like, she gives us a winning leg, like, every game.
Yeah.
So, like...
Yeah, it's not fair.
Yeah.
Brown season's going to be your season.
Maybe, but I might not even be able to participate there because I have plans to be part of training camp, and I think that contract's for a full year, so I'm just out of this.
Maybe golf? You want
I
to
could
go
just
all
chat
golf?
about
Yeah,
it.
golf,
Golf.
tennis. Tennis is fun because you bet point by point. That gets dangerous.
Listen, you're right. Golf is going to be my thing, so is basketball. So
All right, there we go.
You got to
B-ball's
stop
winding
getting
down.
jobs. That's what it is. That's
Yeah,
the
you're
problem.
working too
Stop
hard.
working for all these teams. You're working too much. You need to be gambling more.
You're right. I need to go full time.
Supplemental income if you do it right.
There you go.
All right, should we do fill in the blank and then hit some bets?
Yes.
Yes.
Alrighty, I'll kick things off
Yeah, you
because
do.
Gab, you were at the ballpark all week. The Cleveland Guardians offense is blank.
Heating up.
Heating up.
Cooking,
I was gonna say
baby.
they're back.
It's cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're heating up. I don't want to get too excited, like they're back, because we still have a lot going on, but we're seeing a lot of bright spots. Like Josh Naylor, he had a hit yesterday, right?
All-star.
So 11-game hitting streak, and I want to say the last 13 games he's batting upwards of 450.
All star
Yeah.
should be. Vote him in.
20+ hits, whatever. He's looking good. Who else did well this weekend?
Guy by the name of Jose Ramirez.
Jose,
Jose.
yeah, duh.
So good.
Josh
Thursday.
Bell starting to look like
Yeah,
the real
dingers.
Josh Bell.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'm going with that they're back. I don't care.
it
Call
was
me optimistic.
really nice to shut out the Astros
Once they
yesterday,
take
too.
Mike Zunino and fire him into the sun and get Bo Naylor up here, I will have no qualms with the Cleveland Guardians.
Yeah, and they were just a day too late on sending Karinchak down, or I think we could have won, right? Wait, no, we came back that day. Was it Friday Karinchak got us in trouble, but then we came back. That was the 14
Yeah, we
innings.
came
Okay.
back.
That was the
That's
extra
right.
innings. That
Next
was like,
one.
Chris, that was like the mid-90s, like where you were never out of it. You'd go down 3 runs, and you're like, they'll come back. That was fun.
It was.
You
It was
couldn't
cool.
turn off the TV back in those days, and now they're
Yeah.
starting to get to that point again.
I think we needed that because, we've talked a lot about the camaraderie and the chemistry, and you need that leadership. I loved Friday's game. It was so necessary, even though it was getting old, because you're like, all right, when are we going to finish this thing out?
When can I go home?
Yeah, we're hungry. No, but it was so necessary because so many different people kept the game alive.
Yeah.
So because so many guys had a hand in that win, that was such a nice team effort that we needed, and I think that really will provide a spark.
Good team win. All right, next Guardians question. West Coast Guardians games are blank. We got a whole stretch here of San Diego, Arizona, bunch of 9:40 starts, a 10:10 start sprinkled in here.
Oof.
What do you guys think of these late night starts?
West Coast Guardians games are exhausting. They're
Yeah.
just exhausting. I
Accurate.
try my best, and what I'll do is I'll turn on Tom Hamilton and fall asleep. And usually, the inflection, I am so well trained that the inflection of Tom Hamilton, if there's a big play at the end of the game, he will wake me up mid-play, and I'll hear the end of it.
I
And
actually
you'll
do
see
the
a
same
tweet.
thing.
You'll see, Reflog will not tweet the entire game. Then all of a sudden, boom, that winner.
Boom, he woke up.
We're all going to get
I will have
laid.
something out there because he's woken me up.
Some of my favorites.
That's right.
I don't mind it. I used to hate it a lot more when I was on No Names Please 9 to 5 grind, and then would have to live tweet games and then get up for mundane meetings that had nothing to do with me at 9 a.m. So glad those days are
We don't
over.
we don't do those.
Wait, hang on. Are we just going to gloss over Moondane?
All right.
Isn't it mundane?
Oh yes, absolutely. I was gonna let it slide.
That's a Nick-ism.
Moondane,
It is now Moondane.
fade, Moondane, Pidone.
Oh, man. Okay.
All right, next.
We took the fluff out of that thing. It did nothing.
Did nothing.
Did nothing.
This
It's
place is a sauna.
sauna in here. All right. Yeah, I'm going to go jump in the lake after this. All right.
I showed Justin Lower out. I was like, "Don't hug me. I'm so sweaty right now."
Yeah, don't even shake my hand. My hands are dripping. When it comes to Donovan Mitchell, the Cavs should blank.
Relax.
Chris,
Yeah, exactly. Do nothing.
am I
Do
the
nothing.
only one?
Exhausting.
You want him
you're,
gone?
you're the hot taker of the crew.
Wait. I want to hear what you
I'd trade him.
You'd let him go. It
I'd
does
trade
feel like
Donovan Mitchell.
Oh, there we go.
The only reason I'm
Build
kinda
up
with-
that TikTok.
the only reason I'm kind of with you on that
TikTok take.
is because
Yep,
it seems
my
like
son's gonna love it.
no, but it
It's
does seem
Nick
like he's
has got
mentally
the
checked out.
best, worst TikTok takes of all time, Dad.
What? Wait, how do you say he's mentally checked out?
No, not mentally checked out, but maybe socially, because I feel like depending, based on his tweets and
So,
certain things.
I'll give Mitchell
We're
credit.
not playing. He should be checked out.
Yeah.
Dad. We're not
But his
playing.
support
He
of,
literally should be on a beach right now.
I need concrete examples. Nick, do you remember
So-
some of the tweets that have popped up that you're like, oh, okay, he's
But we'll back this thing up because I'm not trying to be hot takey or TikToky, but here's and I'll give Mitchell credit. He was hanging out with the Mobley brothers and Karis LeVert, I think in LA, literally a couple days ago. So he threw that on his Instagram.
So he's hanging out with coworkers in the off season.
all right.
He
That's
is.
good news.
But there is legitimate reports out there, people that cover the team, namely Jason Lloyd, that's saying that he is not going to give them his commitment. And I think unless you get that commitment from him, you have a ton invested in this guy. You gave up Colin Sexton, who you drafted 8th overall, Lauri Markkanen, who is an all-star this year, 3 first-round picks and pick swaps for one guy. And when you do that, you expect the player to be here long-term, or if not, a Kawhi situation where it's championship or bust. So if you can't get a commitment out of Donovan Mitchell, I'm saying you got to flip him for what you can. And to Gab's point,
I just
he
want him to
has
love
put
us
some-
more, love Cleveland more, or something
he has
like that.
put a couple of alarming things out there. I mean, golfing with Allen Houston, I get that there were the Louisville ties and that kind of got shut down. He's a Mets fan. His dad works for the organization, so that kind of got shut down. But it seems like it's the worst kept secret in the league that the guy wants to end up in New York, and that's fine. I can't blame him for that. You always want to go to where you're from. Were Heat fans pissed when LeBron wanted to come back here? No. But with that said, you got to weigh all options. I'm not saying I'd trade him right now for a bag of balls, but if the right offer came, I'd consider it.
Balls.
Balls.
Yeah, no, that's a hot take.
Yeah, I agree.
I gave
That's an
reasoning.
awful lot of
He
passion
didn't
for a
play
team that's
well
out of it in June.
in the playoffs. So, first of all, he shouldn't be saying anything.
Agreed.
You had
Well, so to that point, then why is he on a podcast talking about the atmosphere in Game 3, Madison Square Garden? It was nuts when they started the anthem. I
think
got
that was overblown.
goosebumps. Come on, man. The guy is
What?
listened
That's
to that.
not a big
That was
deal.
Completely
he's
overblown.
glazing for the Knicks at this point. Like, I don't know.
No.
I think he wants to go to New York. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But I think it was all overblown, this whole podcast. He went on there and started talking about the national anthem and what it meant to him, and there in the Garden, in the playoffs with the Cavs and everything. It's like, yeah, that's pretty striking. I think that would hit anybody pretty hard.
LeBron
You know,
used to
it's him
talk
going
about the
home.
Garden.
He did. LeBron would. But LeBron also
Hallowed
turned down the
ground.
Garden how many times? You know, he had an opportunity between, Cleveland and New York when he left Miami and he picked here. So I just feel like if you can't get him to commit, that's the big if. And obviously, we don't know that. We're not privy to those conversations. But if Kobe Altman has an inkling that this dude could skate and you could get absolutely nothing out of him, I'm weighing my options. I mean, because there's guys out there that are available. Brandon Ingram's available. Like, you got to weigh options.
Hot take, Nick.
Next.
All right, next. Blank is the best athlete in Cleveland sports right now.
Jose Ramirez.
Oh, wow. Okay. I like it.
Who are you gonna say, Chris?
I was going to say Myles Garrett. I mean, if we're talking all around like athlete, I'd have to go Myles Garrett. I think Jose, though, not only is he an amazing athlete, I think he's probably the hardest trier. I mean, he would try, and whatever Myles could do, Jose would like try and beat him. I could see that, but I think it just pure athleticism. You got to go with Myles Garrett.
I see what you did there, and I don't like it, but
Wait, what did I do wrong?
because you really went literal on that one. Like the best right now, Miles
Oh.
isn't doing anything right now, but lifting. I mean,
Oh,
I
yeah,
get what you're
yeah.
saying.
Well, right now,
he's
yeah.
gonna be that
I
athletic.
don't like the question.
It
He's
would
gonna
either
be
be
that-
Jose or Justin. Those are the only two Cleveland.
Miles is
athletes.
gonna be that athletic year round, but who's performing right now? I guess we don't have any options besides.
Oh, you're saying literally. So who's ever playing right now? So
Yeah.
Miles
Yeah, I'm
hasn't
taking
had a
literal.
sack in a few months.
Right. I'm like, he's doing shit right now.
Next.
I'm going with
Touche.
Chris. I'm going with Chris too. I'm saying Miles. I think
Wow.
Miles wins Defensive Player of the Year this year. You pair him with Zadarius Smith. We're gonna see and refresh his. He was like, loosely sourced. He was checked out with Joe Woods, and I think a lot of guys were. A refreshed Myles Garrett with Jim Schwartz. And not to mention, you add Zadarius Smith, who's the best defensive player that the dude has ever played with at any level, high school, college,
Yeah.
or professional. Miles is going to win Defensive Player of the Year. And this isn't even going to be a question. Like, it's possible after Joe Thomas goes into the Hall of Fame that Myles Garrett could be the next Cleveland athlete to go into a Hall of Fame for any sport. Sit on that. All right.
Yeah.
Boom, hit big play bets. Sorry. Tipico lets you bet on the biggest sporting events all year round. The NBA Finals, well, they could be wrapping up live as we're on this show here tonight. The Stanley Cup Finals are in full swing. PGA tournaments, we were just talking with Justin about golf bets and where that could go. Guardians baseball, you name it, they probably have it. There are so many ways to bet with Tipico. Boosts, promos, same game parlays are live for baseball. Swing for the Fences is back when you place $10 wagers on MLB from the entire month of June. They're going to give you free bets on us when you use that big play link. You see it in the show bio. You see it in the tweets that we put out. Make sure you sign up with that link. When you put in $50, it will give you $200 bets on us. You got to be 21 years or older to gamble in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Guys, let's take a look at some bets this week. The Guardians will be on the road in San Diego on Tuesday against the Padres. Let's make a bet. Will Josh Naylor extend his hitting streak? This should be a resounding yes. This is his old team. Not only is he going to extend his hitting streak, I think Naylor goes yard in San Diego. Slam Diego, if you will.
I like that.
Consensus.
So they play 3 games there. Are we talking all 3? You're saying boom, boom, boom.
Yard
He does
all
it
3.
3 games?
That'd be
No,
cool.
hit all game, right?
Hit
Yeah.
every game, but a home run in one of them for sure. I'm going to say a home run Tuesday. First one back, and he's been red hot.
Well, I love it. I don't want to be the wet blanket here. Hell yeah. He's going to get a hit in all 3, and he's going to get a home run too. Let's go. Let's ride.
All right, bet. I think Nick G kind of got a little bit punny with this one.
Oh boy.
We have another
Nick G, I can't believe it.
We have another former Padre. Will Josh Bell get over under 1.5 total bases on Tuesday? And he said Josh Bell actually became a Padre father last week.
Oh my god.
Father's Day this upcoming Sunday. This is all tying together nicely.
Josh Bell over under 1.5 total bases. I'll say under. Comes back to life, but that's just because Naylor keeps us hot on Tuesday.
He has such an ugly swing.
Bell?
He
I think it's
doesn't
'cause he's
extend
so
his
damn
arms.
big.
It looks like a T-Rex. He's like,
I think it's because he's big, man.
It does look like someone who's playing the wrong sport.
he doesn't
Yeah.
extend his arms. My dad gets so mad about it. He's like, could you ask your friends on the podcast why he doesn't extend his arms?
I'm gonna guess because just like when you're that big, like God probably didn't intend man to be that big, let alone to swing a piece of wood at a baseball coming at you 100 miles.
The bat looks tiny.
Yeah.
How-
So I
how-
think that's the thing. I
How
think
tall is he compared to like Shohei?
that's a good question. I feel like maybe similar because Shohei's big because he's a pitcher.
He's tall.
Shohei is 6'4", and I think Bell is 6'5".
All right.
At least, right?
Right. And they
Josh Bell is
6'4" also.
Oh, really? I thought he was taller.
So I was making an excuse for Josh Bell. Fix
Yeah.
his swing.
Fix your
Or-
swing, man. Fix your swing. It looks super
That's all there
weird.
is to it. Yeah. I mean, it is crazy, and the bat looks like a stick in his hand.
It's like a bad golf swing. Like you'll get it right every now and
It
again.
is sick when it works.
Yeah, fix your swing, man.
Like we were saying when we were with Booby, it's like the Sean Marion of.
Oh god.
All right, Guardians at Diamondbacks on Saturday. Over under will reflog stay up past 10? No, I'm just kidding.
Under.
Will Arizona score over 4.5 runs on Saturday? It's Shane Bieber, and we just saw him bounce back in a huge way. Over under 4.5 will float it for the Arizona D-backs.
So just them.
Bieber keeps him under 4.5.
Oh, under.
Let's go.
I think so too. I think we'll take the over on Bieber strikeouts again. I mean, they had it all the way down to 4.5, and I
What do you
like.
What do you think it'll be like 5.5, 6?
I don't, dude. It was so dominant. Yeah, they probably bump it to like 6.5.
Yeah.
We'll
I still like the
obviously
over.
See how that shakes. Let's wrap this bad boy up. Talk a little Crew. The Crew will be playing the New York City FC on Saturday. Let's stake our bet. Will the Crew win, lose, or draw in Columbus this week? They currently opened up as underdogs despite being at home. Plus 122. I like the Crew. Whenever I go, I have a good time. Probably won't watch this, but I'll bet on it. I'll take the Crew to win plus money.
Let's go Crew. Crew to win.
I still have to go to a
Oh,
Crew
look.
game.
There we go.
The heck is that?
It's a
That's
Crew
it's an
flag.
official Crew flag right there, my friend. Let's go Crew. Lower.com field over there. It's a good time. I was over there
Look at that.
on Saturday.
Maybe we need a
We
show
gotta get
outing.
a little Typico outing too, because obviously they're all over the place.
Well,
and
JW
they're-
invited us to the suite. I think we maybe shoot him a text.
What do you think is bet? Now let's place a bet on this. You
Okay.
think, because I was in the Typico suite, obviously not the JW suite yet. You think the Typico suite is better than the JW suite? Do you think they're about equal? Do you think JW, obviously ownership,
Well, JW's got to have better digs, right?
I would hope
than
so.
the Typico one? I don't know,
Ownership
Chris.
is
That
pretty
Typico
good.
one was good. You eat a burger in that Typico suite? Because I did. And it was pretty good.
Good.
All right,
The
let's go.
nationwide area downstairs is really nice.
Let's
Yeah,
let's go half in Typico, half in JW,
And we'll just
and then
FaceTime
critique
each
each one. Yeah.
Okay, cool. The U.S. Open is Thursday through Sunday. Let's pick a guy who's going to finish top 10.
I meant to ask Justin that. I feel like he would know.
Blew it.
Shoot.
Wait, anybody? Just a top 10?
A
Give
top
me
10
Rory.
finisher.
Chris, you know
Give me
who I'm going to go with? I am going to bet to win or top 10.
Ooh.
Ricky Fowler.
Oh.
Ooh, okay. He's been coming.
He's been
on
coming
the
up a
forward.
little bit. I think it's time.
Wow.
Wow.
What do you think, Chris?
Okay. How about any love for Matt Kuchar after knowing that he was standing up in that
I
meeting?
know.
He was trying to influence everybody's opinion. It sounds like it kind of worked a little bit. Maybe he takes that swagger out on the golf course, kind of an older, a veteran presence there at the U.S. Open,
Yeah.
knows his way around the golf course. No?
Finishing positions top 10.
I don't see his odds on here, so his odds must not be very good.
No, they're there. Plus-
Kuchar's on there?
Plus 900.
Yeah,
Plus
that's
900.
not horrible, Chris.
Yeah.
Oh,
top
it's
10.
not.
think-
Give me Kuchar.
I think Fowler's plus 5,000.
Wow.
No, is he really that? Yeah, I guess for a top 10.
I'll play
No,
it-
to win it.
I'm gonna play it
Oh, to
safe,
win,
which
okay.
is something that I usually don't do. I'm gonna go with Cantley. We were talking about him.
Oh, he takes forever.
I know. We were just talking about him though.
Tony Finau has been playing pretty well.
Yeah.
He was
Cam
right up
Smith.
there.
I like
too.
Cam Smith
there in
3-1.
You go and live?
3-1 is what I'm going. Yeah, but maybe would that be a play to pick a live guy after the announcement?
Yeah.
Kind
You
of
could.
chip on shoulder.
Text Tipico. Let's get it in.
You
Live
are-
golfer to win.
You are right. 9-1 is Matt.
How about Phil?
Phil is 11-1.
11-1 right now. Sergio at 12-1. Wow. Where is that faith in Sergio coming from? I don't see Sergio. If Sergio makes the cut, I'd be surprised.
Yeah, I don't see that.
Yeah. All right, guys. What do you think we call it a show? We'll definitely boost some of these too. So make sure you go download that Tipico Sportsbook. Pretty much all the bets that we talk about will be boosted in some way, shape, or form. So go download it. Use our show link when you put in 50. We'll give you 200, and use it all on boosts because those usually have the best odds.
That can last you a while unless you're Gab.
Yeah, I'm all out of free money now.
Fade Gab. All right, cool. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you next week.
Goodbye.
It's time! Streaming live from Cleveland, Ohio! Presenting the undefeated, undisputed heavyweight podcast of the world! The Big Play! Reflex!